Good morning, students of class 9. You are welcome back to the online portal. Let's continue our lesson in English. Weathering the storm in Erasma. We were talking about the villagers who were devastated by the cyclone. They were in distress, and Prasant was a ray of hope among them. He organized all the people, even children, at this time in the Red Cross shelter. So he was a good leader. He showed the quality of a leadership, and really he worked very hard, forgetting about his own problems, miseries and troubles. So he worked wholeheartedly for the welfare of the people, as the people were in distress. Many of them have lost their near and dear ones. They were in grief, you can say that. So he organized the volunteers. He made various groups, different groups, and they performed various tasks to help each other. So now let us continue our last portion. There are altogether 7 points I have written over here. Number 1, Prasant brought orphaned children and made a shelter for them. Many of the children, they have lost their parents. Now they have become an orphan. So Prasant gathered all the orphan children and made a shelter for them. With the help of the NGO, he brought polythene papers, bamboos, and he made a shelter for the children. And he also organized games for the children. He organized games for the children. He appointed certain volunteers to engage the children in games. Not only that, he also asked the women to look after the children, the orphan children and the injured people. Those who are injured, those who have lost the children who have lost their parents, he asked the women to look after them or take care of them. Now with the help of an NGO, he started Food for Work program for the women. With the help of the NGO, he started Food for Work program, so that the women get engaged, so that they will forget about their worry, troubles, problems, misery, and they get engaged themselves in the work, so that slowly they will pick up the broken pieces of life. So with the help of an NGO, he started Food for Work program for the women. He became the ray of hope. Prasant was a ray of hope among the distressed villagers. In the time of distress, everybody was searching for Prasant. Whenever they found problems, whenever there was difficulty, they were searching for Prasant. Where is Prasant? Call Prasant. So he was a ray of hope among the distressed people at that time. So the government was ready to construct an institution for orphan children and the women. So the government was ready to construct orphanage and a shelter home for widows who have lost their husband and the families. But Prasant and his volunteers resisted the government's program. Why? There is a reason. Prasant and other volunteers resisted the plan of the government to set up institution for orphans and widows. Why they resisted? There was a big reason for that. Now here they means Prasant and the volunteers, they thought that it would not be proper. It is not correct. It would not be proper, because there in the orphanage, children will grow up, but without love. They will grow up, no doubt, but they will not get any love. So they will grow up without love, and the women would suffer more. The women would suffer from stigma, from the grief and loneliness and isolation. If the women, the widows, were taken by the government in the shelter home, in the home for the widows, shelter home for the widows, they will grow, they will live there, but they will suffer more from loneliness, from the grief and isolation from their community. So Prasant and his volunteers thought it is not proper. So they decided to rehabilitate, or they decided to resettle them in their own community, in their own villages, so that they will get the company as well as they will get the help and love from their neighbors. So the people who doesn't have children, they can adopt some children, and they can resettle them in their own community. So the children will grow up in their own community. They will get love and affection as well as help from the community. So that's why they decided, Prasant and his volunteers decided to rehabilitate them in their own community, so that they can restart their lives again, so that they can pick up the broken pieces of their life once more and restart their life again in their own community. So that was the idea of Prasant for assisting the program of the government to construct institution for orphans and the widows. So he was a good leader. This shows that no doubt Prasant really had the quality of a leadership. So he really helped for the welfare of his people, and long after the event, people still remember their hero, and he was held in high esteem by the people. He was well respected in the areas of that place of Odisha, in Erasma and that place. So you can see that Prasant, he used his quality in a proper way. So he was a kind of a leader at that time, and he used all his quality for the betterment of his people, to help and serve the people. He was a good Samaritan, a good citizen, really, who sacrificed his entire time for the welfare. He worked with dedication and devotion for his own community with love. So that's all for today. So that's the end of the chapter. Now we will be going to another chapter in our next class. This much for today. Thank you for watching the video. So we'll meet in the next class again.